for the purpose of today of discussing the valuation appeal parcel belonging to the Yerglers ending in 6750A. See if I have the right one. So let me walk through the rules to make sure we're all doing all the things required by law. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. It'll be recorded, and you will be sworn in to present testimony. So if you want to speak today, we'll need you to swear in here in a minute. We'll open the hearing with some instructions and preliminary comments. You will be allotted 10 minutes to present your data, and then the assessor will present their data for 10 minutes, and then you'll have closing comments after questions if you have anything you want to say at the end. The appellant will go first. So let me do the oath. So if you're going to speak today, if you would stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Please be seated. All right. So on this parcel, the Yerglers will get the first 10 minutes. If either of you wants to start us off.
You want to start us? Go ahead.
Sure. Because that way I'll have time, because you might take up all my time. So first off, it would be nice if I'm kind of frustrated that the burden of proving that my property is not worth that much money should lie with me. It seems like you're the one making the change. You should be the one to explain to me why it's going up.
So you have a disagreement with the state. I understand. You're not the first one to mention that.
Okay.
State rule. Yeah.
I will tell you, I did call the Idaho State Tax Commission, and after being on the phone for 28 minutes, I finally had the option, no, 40 minutes. I had the option finally for them to call me back. So I did start with them. I talked to two of our legislators, and they both are conflicting as to exactly how this is done and should be done. And so I came up and, we called the assessor's office. And then we came up and James showed us on the computer our property and all of that kind of stuff. I asked for a printout because I thought those one numbers were MLS numbers. Is that what those were? I said I couldn't tell who the property was when I looked on the computer. I think they were MLS numbers.
And they're partial numbers.
Were they partial numbers?
They were partial numbers.
So anyway, I had done an internet search, properties that had sold, and so I had physical addresses. So I wanted to try and correspond and put them together. And I'd asked for a printout, and apparently I can't get a printout proving that these are the properties that you made the determination from. And then I'm still not really clear on who my neighborhood is, whether it's all of Pinehurst, or one time somebody mentioned it was just the original township of Pinehurst, so that I could go with what I found sold and see which of those properties were actually being compared to mine. So I guess my biggest complaint is I don't have any proof of exactly how this number was obtained, which I think, since you guys are just raising it, that I should have some kind of proof. You know, we took these properties that sold at this amount of money, type thing. So, I guess that's my biggest complaint. I mean, it's gone up. I think I gave you my spreadsheet that I've tracked since I bought the place, or since we built the place. Yeah.
Oh, you got it? You guys got it. Okay. If I were to go to the last page, I would see it.
And just disregarding the fact that the value has gone up every year, which I guess I kind of understand maybe how that would. And between 23 and 24, it jumped 30%. It was 32%, but they did an adjustment at one point and lowered it by 9,000 or something, I think. But it's still up 32%, $122,000.
Okay.
Okay, now it's your turn.
All right. I just have a hard time believing that the land that my house is on is worth $200,000 an acre. When you look at 0.538 of an acre, 0.538%, a little over half an acre, and it's over 100. When you turn that into 1 full acre, if we had it, it just boggles me that Pinehurst land is worth $200,000 an acre. When we first got that, it was a field of weeds. Underneath it is just river rock, and the one part of the field down there, even though it's green, I can guarantee it does not hold any water. It just goes right down through. And to me, that's hard to believe. The other thing that is amazing to me is I've talked to some of my friends who are real estate people, and they said the market is flat and things are not really selling. In fact, we had a quote from one that gave a much lower value of our house, and it showed pretty much a flat line for people investing in land, and with a couple things: the higher interest rates, and the realtor says most of them want to wait because they think it's going to come down. So those are a couple things to me that I was under the impression that last year it went up, and James had come out, he looked at one little thing I had him look at, and he said, well, you're on the bubble, next year it's probably going to go down. But instead it went up 30%. And to me, that's just inflationary. And it's not so much me that I'm discussing. I am still working. I'm 76 years young. I'm still able to create some revenue by working, because if we were totally not working and using retirement funds, it would be much tougher. So more than anything, it's not so much for me, it's the fact that there are so many fixed income people that a lot of them can't afford to, they're eating, but they can't do a lot of other things because of the high prices of everything's high priced. And so to me, it's not worth people, especially if one of their people dies, to them to lose their house because of the inability to pay taxes. And I know this isn't tax, this is only valuation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything further you'd like to add?
Yeah. So, oh, never mind. I just disputed my own statement. Go ahead.
Anything else?
We finished a minute early.
You good?
We had 10 minutes, right? Okay.
Okay. All right, let's go to the assessor's office, and if you'd help explain a little bit.
So Linda, when did you build that house? When is that spreadsheet from?
Well, I think we actually started in 2017. I only printed from 2018 on because the first year we had that occupancy tax thing because we weren't in it the whole year.
But those figures are saying,
From 2018.
do you think those costs have gone up?
I'm sure they have.
I'm sure they've substantially gone up.
Yeah.
So those costs are irrelevant today because we know concrete, lumber, metal, electrical wire is all increased. So that's, and then Larry, when you said an acre of land, 200,000. Well, if you went out and bought a bare acre of land, 200,000 would be a lot of money. But your acreage, that includes your development costs, hooking up to the water, hooking up to the sewer, hooking up electricity, whether it's 1/10 of an acre or 1 acre, those costs are about the same. So it's not really, you're not comparing apples to apples there. 1 acre isn't going to cost you $200,000 because the acre we have, your home site, has those improvements, those development costs in that acre. And if you have a 1 acre home site, it's going to be the same. So it's really not 200,000. But again, it comes down to market value. When you talk to the realtor and they gave you an analysis, what was the lien date? Was it today?
I don't know what you mean by the lien date.
When they said you're
Oh, it was a
the
couple,
market.
yeah, and I realized it was 2024
Right.
property, so I went
So-
back on the internet and searched for 2023 properties.
Correct. So 2023, we've seen the increases and stuff. The interest rates have had little effect on the values. And Larry's right, people are waiting. There's not as much inventory out there for sale, and they're staying out there longer. But remember, that date of your appraisal was January 1st of this year. And here we're 6 months into that market.
And it's on the 2023 values, I realize that.
Right. So when he said, talk to the realtor and things are flat, that very well could be. We don't know. We'll know come the end of this year. I mean, everything we look at was the previous year. So it could be declining, it could be flat. And then when you said, Linda, the MLS information, that's the deal we strike with MLS to protect that information. As you're talking to your realtor, if you'd want to happen to put the fact in there that full disclosure would help us out tremendously, we wouldn't have that. And you could get all the sales you wanted. So, and then with that, James will show the comparables for your place. Yeah.
So at the very bottom column of that, you can see that we have assessed values for 2023, and now we're in 24, and you can see how those assessed values versus the sale price is about $100,000 difference. So that's the market. That's why their increases were about.
Is that what I don't have access to?
No, all those.
Where'd you get those? Where'd you get
You
that?
just-
I just
Put
handed
these over
it. I did. I
Oh, you
did.
did?
I did.
And you passed them right over.
Ask them.
Yeah.
Just stuck them.
My mistake.
Okay, so
Good. This is what I wanted.
the subject dwelling was built in 2015, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. Has 2,158 total square feet, 1,383 finished square feet, and the parcel is just a little over half an acre. It has a 24.5 by 51 garage and a 12 by 12 shed. Comparable number one sold in May of 2023 for $425,000. Home was built in 23 and has the same bedroom and bathroom count. Dwelling is 827 square feet less in total size and has 1,331 finished square feet, pretty close to the finished square feet of the subject. The garage is a 20 by 30 and is half the size of the subject garage. This parcel is a 0.190 of an acre, which is a 0.348 of an acre smaller than the subject property. Comparable number two sold in September of 23 for $529,000. This home was built in 2015 and has the same bedroom and bathroom count as the subject. Dwelling is 333 square feet smaller and has 1,825 finished square feet. The garage is 22 by 24 and is half the size of the subject garage. This parcel is a 0.590 of an acre, which is a 0.052 of an acre larger than the subject property. Comparable number three sold August of 2023 for $415,000. Dwelling was built in 1970 and has one extra bedroom and half a bathroom less than the subject. It has 1,137 more finished square feet and is 45 years older than the subject. This parcel has a 22 by 22 garage that is half the size as the subject and a 10 by 10 shed. This home sits on a 0.234 of an acre lot, which is 0.304 of an acre less than the subject. So adding or subtracting property improvements and or land to the comparables to match the subject property, you can see how the values are comparable. Using the cost and market approach, it is our opinion that this is a fair market value.
Okay. Anything further from the assessor? All right. Questions for either the appellant or the assessor from the board? When was your house built? What year?
2000.
16, right?
Well, I think 17.
I don't know. No, I started earlier than that.
Oh.
But I can't remember.
We have it built in 2015.
15.
That's when we got
Really?
the certificate of occupancy. It wasn't finished then, but we moved in.
Early.
Yeah. Now, can I
Well,
make?
right now we got to have them. You'll get closing remarks.
Okay.
We've got questions from the board. If we have any questions from the board for either them or the assessor.
I don't at this time.
You just have the one comparable.
Yeah, I just called a realtor and I said, if we wanted to sell our house, can you tell me what you think we could probably sell it for? And they sent me a whole bunch of stuff, but I wasn't going to waste my printer with all that ink five times.
And
to
this
do the whole
was
thing.
for 2024.
Yeah, so that's why I went online and I started looking for properties in 2023.
Anything further? No. Okay, so now we will go to closing remarks. So what would you guys like to say that you have?
First off, it would have been nice if we could have got this when we came up, because this is what I asked for. I was under the impression, in fact, in the computer there were like 15 of them, and so did you change our property value just from these three?
I didn't change the property value from the comparables. I had to redraw your garage.
What?
It wasn't drawn correctly, so I had to redraw that to draw it correctly.
Okay, but are these because you use comparables to determine as a partial way to determine our value? Are these the three that were used?
All of them were used as far as, well, those are the three that compared to your home, specifically your home. As far as the market analysis and how the trending went, all of those sales were considered.
Okay, because there again, I'm very fuzzy on it's supposed to be according to your neighborhood. So what is our neighborhood? A couple of years ago, I called and it was all of Shoshone County, and then last year I think we were told it was Pinehurst, and then this year it was like we didn't know what our neighborhood was. Maybe it was the original town site of Pinehurst.
And we use the word neighborhood a couple different ways. So neighborhood in ProVal is different than neighborhood when we might pull comparisons. All those comparisons in Pinehurst.
Yeah.
So we would try to stay in geographical areas. If you're in the city of Pinehurst, we'll try to pull all the sales out of the city of Pinehurst. If you're rural, we might compare Hunt Gulch to French Gulch, but in our computer, they might be separate neighborhoods. Or we might Montgomery Gulch to Elizabeth Park, or even Elizabeth Park to 9 Mile. Try to look at to show that the neighborhoods are comparable. Would it be fair to compare Pinehurst to Coeur d'Alene? Of course not. I mean, they're two totally different ducks. They're not comparable. So we try to stay in areas that are, offer the same amenities and those types of things. So I think any fee appraiser, would use Pinehurst, Smeltville, probably Kellogg to pull comps. And the fee appraiser, he's going to look for buyers. Are they going to buy here or in a less desirable area? So they try to get, desirable areas that offer the same amenities and stuff. So.
Well, I've never had an accurate explanation of what our neighborhood is. Number one, unless they annex, I don't think Old Farm Road and Trailblazer Court are actually in the city of Pinehurst.
But they're in the same area.
Okay,
I mean, they're-
but so are a lot of properties immediately around us that are, like, probably should be torn down type
They would,
properties.
those wouldn't be comparable properties to yours. Yours is built.
Would you take a tear down and compare it to your house? Per se.
No, I wouldn't,
You would.
but, so that miraculously describes the type of neighborhood I'm in, though.
Neighborhood, but we try to get comparables out of that neighborhood or that area.
Okay,
I mean,
Well, I used comparables that are more like your properties. The closest that we had to a sale that was like your property. And you can see that our assessed values were $100,000 less than what they sold for. So that's what influences as far as the market value goes.
so we can, so since
Trending.
2024 is flat and going down, we can expect our property value to go down next year?
ask me next February.
Okay.
Because
So, I need to-
6 months can make a huge difference in a depreciating or appreciating market. So,
Any further closing
I
thoughts?
have our house, when it was assessed, we had a mortgage loan officer. We had a loan officer when we were building the house,
With a construction.
construction from Coeur d'Alene, back Coeur d'Alene. When they went to finance it, the bank finance officer, the gal, told us, and they sent an assessor out. They told us we only have a 2-bedroom house because upstairs, where Linda's office is, both the windows that are up there are not egress, do not satisfy bedroom windows because they have to be a bigger space to get out of. So they gave us a 2-bedroom assessment, is what the bank said.
Egress is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, we don't have the egress windows there. I can get out of them, but they're supposed to be closer to the floor.
1.2 cubic.
So they said we have a 2-bedroom house. And they-
that's,
And we do have a 2-bedroom house.
and that's for loan purposes.
Well, it's still a 2-bedroom house, and here it's 3 bedrooms, so I don't know how much difference that
So-
makes.
That, what we're calling the 3rd bedroom, I imagine you're calling it an office.
No,
What is it?
I have 2 enclosed rooms that are bedrooms.
So,
what they're calling the 3rd bedroom is your office.
Well, I know, but
But
there's no
it
wall
has-
separating me
It has no
from the
closet.
family room.
It has no closet in it. It has no, the windows are not egress windows, so you
So-
can't get out.
okay, so we'll change it to 2 bedrooms with a home office. Value will be the same.
Square footage doesn't change.
I
And
just,
it shouldn't matter that I have a
I just
home
brought that
office
up.
in there because, I mean, it's just a corner in the family room. Anyway, I'm just saying, yeah, if that's not gonna change it, then that's fine, but,
I mean, call
Yeah.
it what you want.
I know this is out of your control because of the state code, but to me, it's not fair when people come into our community and buy a house because they were able to sell their house for way more money, and all of a sudden our house gets jacked up price-wise for that reason.
I can't disagree with you.
I think we all agree on that one.
That's-
Yeah.
and I understand costs have gone up. They've got, I mean, groceries and for every taxpayer, costs have gone up. But when you start using that as an excuse, or that anywhere else you'd go and buy an acre of land for $200,000, I wouldn't be stupid enough to pay for an acre of land, that much for an acre of land. So no, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, there's just got to be a point where this stops for those people that have worked and paid off their house and they've prepared for retirement at a certain age, and all of a sudden they get to retirement, and like Larry said, we can pay the taxes, but it's going to keep us from taken that trip to wherever it is we wanted to go. Where was that, honey?
I have seen the prices go up, and even when the people were at the Bunker Hill, they retired and they had a good retirement, and then values went so high they couldn't afford to pay. They'll go up again, and I guarantee you that when you're in your 70s, don't be surprised if you'll be complaining because you won't be able to. Let's say if one of the spouses die, most of these people on fixed income will not be able to keep their house, and that's not right.
Then it probably qualify for the property tax reduction circuit breaker.
But the circuit breaker, it's not enough money. $37,000 is
That's,
nobody can live on $37,000.
I beg to differ. I have to show you 625 people that qualified for the circuit breaker program in Shoshone County last year that are living on less than $37,000.
$37,000 a year. Yeah, well, I would like to be able to go out and eat and go to a movie once in a while. I couldn't do that on 37.
12,000, and it's just not your retired folks.
Yeah.
I need to move this on
Yeah.
for time. Do you have any closing remarks?
I don't. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm going to close the public portion of the hearing and now just deliberate as a board. I probably speak for the whole commission when I said we hear you. The problem is the state system that we're in, and we don't have direct control of that. We as citizens should, but we as commissioners don't control the state system.
State tax commission differs, but
Well, see, and then also the code directs us that we have to examine the evidence from the assessor's office and from the advocate. And that's what we have to base our opinion on.
So sympathetic, trying to figure out the comparables in your area that have been presented seem fairly close. I think that the problem is the price of your home has just gone up, but do we have any other thoughts or suggestions or ideas or comments?
No.
What did you say that you felt the value of the home was?
420.
oh, I just threw a number. I just, it can go up a little bit every year to absorb those costs. It's not my fault if, our wages didn't go up as much as,
No.
and 30% increase in our property value 1 year is outrageous. And if I had had these and maybe other ones you were looking at originally, I could have seen what but it's just a lack of printed information that I can chew on a bit and see exactly how this is done.
Yeah, and it's hard for the public to be able to go out and get that information.
And that's not
It should
right.
be-
The
should be
public's paying
easier,
for
but
this.
That's not our.
No.
That's not our. It's
We're back to the system, and the system has some
flaws.
flaws.
It does, and I want to work on that, so I expect some help from both the assessor's office and the commissioner's office in dealing with that.
You bet.
Please.
Okay.
I just say
Go to our
please.
legislation that it wants to.
Absolutely. I do have one question, can I, or? No?
One more, and then we've got to
You're so
wrap up.
gracious.
We have another one.
This ProVal software that you use, Jerry, they have another one. If the parent company has another taxing software that also does valuations, but it's a ProVal portion that you use. I forgot to print it out and bring it. Because I was looking on there and they actually, darn it, I did forget to bring it. They actually talk about public use and the public being able to get in there and access more information and all that. Do you know anything about that?
Well, there's several.
No, that you use so that I can get in there and access the information that you're,
There's not a public inquiry at this time.
well, it says on their website there is, so,
On whose website?
on ProVal. And I forgot, I printed that out and I forgot to bring it.
And that is what's provided us from the State Tax Commission free of charge. And that's exactly how much money we've got to spend on it. Now, commissioners would give us.
Oh, no, you're not getting in that.
$9 million.
Not getting in that battle.
I encourage you to look at Kootenai counties. It's the same company, but one they pay dearly for.
But we've got ProVal, so I'll email you some information I looked at, and maybe you can shed some light.
No, I know all about it, but
No, but what I saw on the
I've seen it.
site.
It's similar to Kootenai County. See?
Okay.
Okay.
I love it. I would love to have it.
Out of respect for the next folks up that start, we need to come up with a motion or an action.
I'll move to uphold the assessed value, considering we all have the same
Problem.
situations of what you're expressing, and it's, I think, up to all of us to start going to legislation and working on getting it taken care of. But right now, we have to uphold what the assessed value of. I've seen no difference in burden proof, so I'll move to uphold that.
Okay.
I'll second it. You know, we have to go up with the Idaho Code of Evidence, and you didn't bring forth the evidence enough to persuade us on the assessor's values.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I'm sorry that we can't do anything for you on the value based on the other sales in the area, but
What exactly would have been sufficient evidence?
more of
Comparable
More.
properties.
Comparable. So,
But I can't get to them. We have a catch-22 here, people.
would the realtors supply it to you?
Well, actually, I don't think you're actually supposed to use the MLS.
If the realtor gives you permission. Our agreement with the MLS realtor people is that we don't disclose that to the company.
See, even the legislators, because I talked to 2 legislators, and one said you're not allowed to use the MLS because it's not accurate. It states right on the MLS form that it's not guaranteed accurate information. And the other legislator says, yeah, they use the MLS. So, see, something's messed up.
I agree.
But our agreement with them is that we don't share that.
and I'd be willing to set another meeting or come and talk to you about what's messed up. But I've got to let somebody else in the room.
Let me just give
Okay.
you the average property rates for the state of Idaho in 2023. In urban, 0.733%. Shoshone County is 0.938%. In rural, it's the average for the state is 0.469%. Shoshone County is 0.628%. That comes off the state tax commission's
Their
property
annual
website.
report.
Thank you.
The annual report.
Thank you so much.
2023.
You gave me that the other day.
Will we get this determination in writing?
Yes.
I need documentation.
Yes. You're welcome.
If you email
Is the meeting adjourned, sir?
CC
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
And